Hello everyone, this is Yosef Bruer for ESFI, and I'm here at the League of Legends Season 2 Finals, and I'm sitting here with HotshotGG of CLG Prime. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Doing good. The first time you guys went to, or when you went to Korea, you said that you kind of scared all of the North American teams into training harder, longer, and better after seeing how the Koreans trained. Given the lack of success at the Worlds with North American teams and the huge success of Korean teams here, do you think NA teams kind of forgot about that warning, or are the Korean teams just really good?
Well, I guess there was only one team that could really adapt properly, and that was TSM, because they have the advantage of living in a gaming house, whereas, Dignitas really doesn't have it. Curse really didn't have enough time, so, I guess TSM didn't really take heed to the warning. They didn't practice hard enough, and it really showed here. And the lack of practicing globally really hurt them too. So I guess really coming into this tournament, us and TSM were the only hopes for NA, and I guess we fell short.
Well, last time I interviewed you at GESL, you were getting ready to go to Korea for the second time. You were saying that Korea was going to be the haven for scrims against all the top teams, and that everyone is going to be there to step up.
Yep.
Looking back on that, do you feel that that's true?
Oh yeah, definitely. TPA practiced all the time in Korea. Maybe not in Korea, but they practiced because they had decent ping. WE practicing all the time. IG practicing. Frost, all the top teams that are doing good except for M5 were practicing constantly. And honestly, we regressed when we came back home from Korea. When we were playing against everyone, we were just beating everyone, TSM, whatever. Or we were just crushing them, and we felt like we were getting better, or we've gotten better. But actually, it's just the teams are not as good here as they are back there, because those are world-class teams constantly playing 12 hours a day. So, yeah, honestly, I feel like my predictions kind of come true. Yeah. And I think if we stayed in Korea for another month to train, we would have been doing better, but we had to come home.
Well, do you guys think you have more of a hunger in Korea along with any other teams that go there to practice, or do you think it's just the teams there are just a lot better for you guys to practice against? Do you feel better when you're in Korea?
So we felt like our mental condition and just our I guess overall health, we were just we were getting drained in Korea. So as far as that, we were really stressed. We want to go back home. But as far as the teams that we were playing against and the training we were getting, it was worth it. You felt it. When we went to Korea, we got our asses handed to us. We had a 30% win ratio, 20% win ratio, and we worked our way up to 50-60% win ratio, which it's really good in Korea. All the teams there have anywhere from a 40% win ratio to 60%. No one's truly dominating, so that was good for us. So,
well, are your results here this weekend going to have you reconsider CLG's current practice schedule?
So we had some obligations to fulfill because we kind of went underground for 4 months in Korea, and it kind of sucked that we had to fulfill them right before the tournament. But we're going to have something stable for us in the future, and we're going to consider going back to kind of our Korean training regime so that we perform better next time. And also, we're looking forward to having other people follow us under that structure, is because honestly, if North America thinks that they can just continue to do what they're doing now to compete next year, it's just not happening.
Will you continue to schedule time for streaming instead of focusing on more team-orientated schedules?
Yeah, no. There's definitely a fine balance. You don't have to train 12 hours a day, 6 days a week to compete. But there's definitely a time commitment where you have to be serious. You have to sit down and you have to really try to put a good effort. So I learned a lot from being in Korea, and I learned a lot from talking to the Korean teams, Cloud Templar, for example, and Woong. They're all great people and great players. And there's kind of a misconception that went around that there's poorly translated piece from Cloud Templar, which kind of shed us in a bad light. That's not what he was trying to really say. What he was trying to say was that is that really, like, it's just a different way of, like, seeing the picture. Like, they think that training 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day nonstop will create success for them, and I agree that's definitely a part of it, but I ultimately believe that there's a fine balance. You can train like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, or something along the lines where you're mentally focused, you're mentally prepared, and still compete at the same level. It's not you have to follow that mentality. And if I were to have a conversation with Cloud right now about that, like, he would probably agree to a certain extent. So sorry about that. It's probably
No,
but yeah, that's how I feel.
Okay. Well, since this weekend's over and everything like that, what can you guys take away from this weekend and how you guys played to go on to season 3 and IPL and whatever else you guys are going to be competing in these next couple of months?
So when we came back from Korea, we actually had a structure, and we're going to just adapt our structure a little bit. We're going to have more perseverance when coming into season 3, and we're going to really try to step up in the global arena, because in season 3 we're confident we'll just dominate and be like top 1, top 2 team, but that's not good enough for us. We want to be the best in the world, and we're not going to stop just trying to compete for the best.
All right. Let's talk about a little more inside of the game stuff. Well, why do you prefer the double Durans over GP10 items, and has there been an occasion where it hasn't paid off for you?
Sometimes double Dorans works out for me because, especially on Mundo and stuff, I'm doing a lot of fighting, doing a lot of clearing. Just, it keeps me on the map longer. But when I make the wrong decisions, as in, like, I'm at the wrong place and there's no fighting happening, it's wasting the double Dorans. So I remember when I played Mundo, and I think one of these games, or maybe even 2 of these games, I went Dorans, maybe even double Dorans, and I found myself, like, not using them to the full potential, and so they started wasting away where I should have probably gone for a hog. All these things, in hindsight, they're improvements. There's so many small improvements that you can make in terms of the way you treat the game, like item builds, like all these things, and they start to add up a little bit here and there, but there's bigger pictures that really lost us games.
Well, what was the conversation like while Double Lift was starting the back door against SK, and then you guys all started teleporting in as you were chasing them down mid lane? What was that conversation like when you guys played SK?
We were screaming. We were like, Double Lift's like, I'll hold him. And then he's like, I'm going to take the tower. Just hold them as long as you can. And then I was like, TP! You too, TP in! And they were like, for a second, I was like, oh, maybe they don't have TP up. Yeah. And so I was like, whatever, I'll just chase them. I think Double Lift can do it. And so I just chased them down mid lane, and 2 of them diverged in the forest. And I figured that there's no way I could find them in the forest. So I just went straight down mid. But the 2 most important people TP'd home, and so I got really scared. And then the 2 TPs from our team came in. It was so close. Like, honestly, I heard that they didn't show our perspective. They just showed SK's perspective. And, like, I was sad about that, because, honestly, that was probably one of the most, like, crazy moments for me, like, ever in my entire career. And so, like, my heart literally stopped right after, like, the game. Like, I didn't even know what happened. It was so close.
Well, it's
just crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your second chance game against Azubu Frost. How'd you guys feel coming into that match as opposed to the last time you guys played them?
Okay, so we had a strategy planned, and it was crafted more so on blue side, so we didn't really get to adapt. We got 3 purple sides, which is kind of dumb, but whatever, it's bad luck, whatever. Got to move on, got to account for it. So we tried to really adapt it last minute, like, and it didn't pan out, and they broke our strategy, which I'm not going to go in too much depth, but it ended up not paying dividends for us. And we basically, what happened was we fell into the same scenario as we did first game. Like, first game and second and third game are literally the exact same thing. We didn't pull our initial strategy out, and it didn't work the way we wanted it. And when you bank off something like that and it doesn't follow through, then it really sucks. And honestly, if we were to play like, I would put $10,000 down that we could beat IG and like Frost, like standard and stuff like that. We're not really afraid of them, and we don't feel that we couldn't have beat them. It's just our strategy just didn't pan out, and we were so silly to have tunneled in on that. And it sucks. And we definitely want another shot at them.
Well, you talked about strategies not working. Were there any that you weren't able to pull out this weekend that you wanted to do?
Yeah, we needed Blue Side to pull out SC2 dock.
Okay. That was actually my next question, if you can say anything about the SC2 docks.
Yeah, we needed Blue Side to pull it out, so we didn't get Blue Side, which is kind of sucky. So there's also some controversy where they're like, oh, people are like, why didn't CLG have any purple side strats planned? Well, inherently, Blue Side is an advantage, and that's just the way the game is. And that's why every team that won the coin toss picked Blue Side. And so we wanted that inherent advantage to run off with on at least one of the teams, but we didn't get it. And so it sucks. And actually, IG had a strategy crafted for Blue Side, and that countered our strategy that we had crafted for Purple Side. And so it wasn't luck. It wasn't luck that they won, but it definitely hindered us. We could have played better. We could have always played better. But if we look back at the things that we couldn't control, I think it was to the point where it could have turned. Yeah.
How do you feel about that blue side, purple side balance? You think it's something that needs to be changed, or do you like it the way it is right now?
It's a really tough problem to tackle. Like, it's all like it's fair, right? It's fair, but it's also luck. I'm not sure if you can really make it so you can't make it so it's fair. Like, it has to be based off luck. So, whatever. Stuff happens. Hopefully in season 3, we don't like to look for the short term, right? We lost here and we're really upset. But come season 3, we want to like make sure that we've learned from our mistakes and come out stronger. And so hopefully in season 3 there won't be a system like that. It'll be determined based on like something we can foresee in the future, like a stable non-luck coin flip or something like that. But we'll see.
Well, looking ahead to season 3, what do you think CLG has to do to stay competitive at its highest levels, and what are your plans for the CLG Gaming House?
So definitely we need to take someone else, another team under our wing in a sense. Like we need not under our wing, but someone has to step up, get a gaming house, and they have to put their all into it, because we can't train against no one. Like we can't train against Orbit that's like doing like school or whatever. We can't train against TD that have other priorities. We need someone else to really train against. And it's kind of hard because in Korea it was the best for everyone, because they get to everybody got to train against like different regions. Like we got to play against TPA, which wasn't counterproductive for the regionals. But if we train against someone else, just one team in North America, it's kind of counterproductive to our North American dominance. So it's like it's a balance between not beefing up our North American competition, but also being prepped for the world competition. So we might even be traveling the world again.
Well, you had mentioned Orbit Gaming. What do you think about Orbit Gaming and MME Ferris and those more up-and-coming teams in the NA scene that are, starting to show getting some significant attention due to the recent success in various tournaments?
They're good, and I see good things for them. But on the world stage, they're not even close. They need to have gone through a lot of the struggles that we all of our teams have gone through for a long time. They need to go into an intense practice regime, which all of our teams have gone through for a long time. They're purely based off talent. Like Orbit has some fantastic players, very talented players. MME Ferris has some very fantastic players. Everybody's going crazy over Afromove for talent. But talent will only get you so far. You need more than just talent. You need the drive, you need the focus, and you need the schedule, the structure.
Well, are you excited about the potential that the NA has to grow, or do you think it'll always be behind the EU and Asian scene?
EU and NA, I group in the same category. I would never put EU with Asia. So Moscow 5 is basically, they're talented. They're talented. They have some structure, but it's nothing compared to, the Asian structure. So honestly, M5 is just driven by talent mostly, I believe. They do have some structure, but it's not the same, and the drive is not really the same. So I think as a force, EU and NA need to step up their game so that we can compete next year.
What team do you think is going to take the whole Season 2 finals?
So my initial predictions like 4 months ago were someone that came out of Korea. And I'm going to stick with that. I'm probably going to say that Moscow won't win. And I'm probably going to say that either W is probably going to lose to CLG in this game that's happening right now. So I would have to give it to CLG EU or Frost. Frost have such a great mental state. Like they don't necessarily have talent, but when you're gaming like this hard and this much and against all these teams and there's so much mental focus happening, they have such great mental focus, and that's what brings them their strength, and I think that might carry them into the finals or in winning the finals.
Thank you very much, man, for the interview. You can feel free to give any shout outs to anything you'd like to.
Okay, yeah. Shout outs to my family, my friends, my parents, and my grandparents, and shout out to Becca, shout out to sponsors, XMG, Razer, On3D, Elo Buff. You guys are all great, and thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for the interview, man. We'll be looking forward to talking to you very soon.
Thank you.